All right, and happy birthday to Bobby Reynolds. This was supposed to be yesterday. The reason I didn't put it out yesterday is because I went to my book of requests, schedule, all that. I miswrote down what they were fighting, so I'm like, what the hell is this? And eventually I did find it by going through the comments in the YouTube algorithm. So I'm like, okay, that's what this is. So, for Bobby Reynolds, they had asked the question of who wins in a fight, Godzilla and Rambo versus the Decay soldiers of the Darkness Army, or Decay Army, from Winx. What? Sometimes I really question the choices. Not like the taste, just more like the questioning, like, why do you want to see that kind of questioning? But all right, let's do it. So Godzilla, we know Godzilla. Godzilla is a walking allegory for the nuclear bomb. And unless you're going with, like, say, the legendary version, in which case he is a radioactive giant kaiju titan that has existed since far before we ever existed. He is always large and in charge. Even his smallest versions are still at least 100 feet tall. He's always devastating his power, capable of just melting things down to nothing with his nuclear breath, or tunneling a hole through the center of the earth, being literally a literal nuke, his atomic breath. Physical strength-wise, he is, bar none, a monster in terms of strength. He can literally go toe-to-toe with and throw around creatures that weigh hundreds of thousands of tons with little effort. He's capable of swimming. He is durable enough to tank nukes to the face, and a meteorite that we saw in, which Godzilla movie was it? Final Wars. He also survived a black hole, and being at the epicenter of a absolute zero cannon, which on the feat of just straight molecular, like, physics should not work, and it did. So, John Rambo is now riding the back of Godzilla with all the weapons he could bring. He's a master of guerrilla tactics, skilled at hand-to-hand combat, carries around a giant survival knife or a giant machete in the fourth one. He's, even for an older gentleman in his older years, still physically imposing, and he's not completely psychologically sound. So you have that going in. Now, okay, these Decay soldiers vary in shapes and sizes, but generally the main thing to it is every time you beat one, two more take its place. It's essentially like the head of a Hydra. Yeah, you'll beat them, but will you beat them overall? Probably not. I believe you gotta need, like, the dragon flame, something or other, to actually put them down, or to control them. And I think to put them down. Now, I don't know if that rule about cut one off, two more will come applies if you're, like, defeating multiple. If that, like, little word loophole can apply here. I don't know. What I do know, though, is it's still a nuisance type of opponent to deal with. Otherwise, though, they're not insanely strong in terms of, like, their overall power, or, like, they're not world ending in terms of just, like, dropping up, like how Godzilla can be world ending. They're just not. They're foot soldiers. That's what they are, and they're good at what they do, from what I can find. So, in a battle of attrition, would they be able to actually get the win overall? Well, Rambo is obviously the weakest link here. I'm not saying he couldn't take a couple of these things down. He's gonna, like, blow them all down with his gun and all that. But you know, again, one drops, two come take its place, kind of thing. Ultimately, he would be overwhelmed. Really, this comes down to, could Godzilla wipe out the entire army? And that is simply a question of two things. One, are they even capable of overwhelming Godzilla? And two, does the idea that, yeah, beat one, two take its place, but if you take out, say, the entire garrison, would that, say, get the job done? Because there's no more resurrections to be had from there. Because, hold on, Decay Soldier Winx Club. I'm going to actually look that up right now. Just to see how that functions. Decay Soldier, Soldier, dying animation. Okay, let's try that. Not soldier dying animation, Decay Soldier. Okay, Decay Soldier Winx Club. Okay. Decay Soldier. Let's see here. What does it look like when these things actually get taken down? Are the Army of the... Okay, Army of Darkness, Army... Okay, that's what I'm trying to look for right here. And I don't need the sound on this. In fact, I'd really prefer it not to be. No, this is just a soundtrack. I want an actual animation here. Hold on 1 second. It's clip. Okay, Army of Darkness. Okay, maybe this will give me what I'm looking for here. All right, we got people fighting. More people fighting. Attractive illnesses. Being all evil and villainousy. All right, there got the army growing out of, I'm guessing, the ground. All right, and they seem to be like stitching themselves together. No, it's like whirling masses. All right, the Army of Dark. Okay, it's something at least, but it's not giving me an idea of how they because is it essentially you destroy one and one just pops into existence, or if you put one down, like 2 more grow out of the body of it? Because based on the name, it sounds like it's the latter, but again, I don't watch or read or watch Winx at all. Okay, Army of Decay. Hold on right here. Give me a full-on thing here if you're watching this Army of Decay get injured and then resurrect. Anything at all? No, nothing at all. So I don't have a firm answer to that, unfortunately. So I will look at this in a twofold way. If beating, because it's magic, if destroying or beating one literally just makes 2 more pop into existence. Okay, let's look at that for a second, and let's assume, like, okay, there's three ways to look at it. 1, if destroying multiple counteracts the whole, when one goes down, 2 more arise. If that counteracts it, Godzilla's going to wipe the floor with these things. Also depends on how many we're talking about here. An army can be as small as, you can have a 1-man army, but realistically, an army can be as small as like 50 people. It's a small army, but it's an army. Or as large as thousands upon millions. So what's an army here? Based on what I can find, we're probably looking at least a couple hundred to 1,000. Let's highball. Let's say 1,000. If the rule of 1 goes down and 2 will arise is counteracted by multiple dying at once, well, Godzilla wins that hands down. There's no argument on that one, I think, because he can literally just atomic breath, stomp them, all that. Okay, but now we're not going with that. If the basis of magic works in the sense that if one is just beaten, 2 more just appear, then I think it's a stalemate, because Godzilla eventually will tire, but the amount of effort Godzilla would have to put in to tire is not something that these things, I think, have the capacity to do. There's nothing Godzilla's size in these armies is the problem, at least from what I can tell. There's some minor decent size stuff, but compared to Godzilla, particularly if we're going with the bigger versions like Legendary, or God forbid Godzilla Earth, who's nearly 1,000 feet tall and literally has a built-in force field around him, or Shin, or Ultima, or any of these much larger, heftier versions of Godzilla, they can swarm him, but if they swarm him, great. They still got to get through his hide, and his hide is thick as hell. Like, legendary versions of Godzilla is literally got dermal scarred armor on him from taking nukes in the past. It takes a shit ton of effort just to pierce that thing, let alone injure Godzilla. I don't think anything in that army has that firepower. Personally, I'm not big on Winx. I looked up what I could on this subject for you. So then it's just a matter of Godzilla eventually gets annoyed and F's off. So I guess technically the Darkness Army gets the win because Godzilla just said, whatever. But yeah, while Godzilla can and would, I think, annihilate a large chunk of these things, they would just come back. So it's pretty much either a stalemate or Godzilla just F's off and Rambo is overwhelmed. However, if it is more the idea of what I'm assuming, it's they kind of like emerge from the corpse, more or less. Then if Godzilla's atomic breath is literally just annihilating these things out of existence or just turning them into ash, unless the magic is so strong it can literally bring something back from the ash, assuming that there's any left, it would take a little while, but Godzilla would ultimately take that win because he's obliterating more than they are regenerating. So again, break it down real quick. If destroying one is if destroying more than one bypasses the idea of the regeneration factor, well, Godzilla's going to win that. If not, if the regeneration is just literally just to appear, it's a stalemate or a loss on their side because Godzilla's not going to be defeated, but he's just going to kind of quit. But if it's not, and they actually form out of the body of a defelled Decay soldier, then Godzilla would ultimately win that because half the time the bodies aren't even going to be around anymore. That being said, however, I personally, I don't know. That being said, look, I think Godzilla and Rambo probably take the win. It is not going to be easy, though. And the Decay soldiers, while they can certainly take Rambo down, don't seem to have, again, from what I could find, a firm way of doing anything to Godzilla. Unless they're able to crawl onto his face, hit him in the eye multiple times, and maybe take an eye out. In which case, but at that point, Godzilla's just going to get annoyed, just swipe them off. So yeah, I'd go Godzilla and Rambo in the long run for the majority of these fights. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Later.